You're looking at a man right here named Jordan Love who's going to, in my opinion, turn heads in 2023. I'm not talking about he's going to be good. He's going to do what we think maybe Ritter can do or what even Danny Dimes could do. I'm talking about a guy that's going to do what Tua did last year, what Geno Smith did last year. I think Jordan Love is actually better than good. Now, I'm going to cap it. I'm going to curb my expectation. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, go draft him and start him. But in Superflex leagues, this guy's an absolute gem as your quarterback, too, in a Superflex. And in a backup role, in a 1 QB league, and your quarterback goes down, this guy could save your season. He threw a missile today in practice to Christian Watson. Touchdown. Walks onto the field during a half last year. Yeah, we don't have a lot to go on. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you don't, Bob. Sometimes you have to make a judgment call off of a small sample of work. Sometimes you have to take the opinions of others, like Jair Alexander when he says this guy's an absolute marvel. Sometimes you have to listen to the wide receiver room that says this guy's an absolute beast right now in the making. You don't have to think he's going to be top 5. I'm not asking you to believe he's top 5. I don't believe he's top 5. The top 5 is stacked. The top 6 or 7. The top 7 are absolute stacked. This is a changing of the guard, as your boy coined, and a lot of people are using that phrase right now around the industry. You know, you heard it here. The changing of the guard has happened already at quarterback, but this guy wants to sneak in the back door and at least be a part of it at the tail end of it, at the bottom of that second tier of QBs that range from 7 to 12. This guy has the potential to be a 7 to 12 QB. We're going to talk about that more. Jonathan Taylor, Alvin Kamara, the Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show.
Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
We've got a lot of people doubting Jordan Love to a disrespectful, crazy degree, but I'm here to try and change that. I know I'm not going to have a lot of supporters on it. I know that some of you will believe in it. Some of you love Christian Watson. Some of you will trust me when I tell you that he's not a lock, but he's got a lot of upside to prove a lot of people wrong to a serious degree. Not a little bit. Not Ritter. Not even Sam Howell necessarily. And I do like Sam Howell a lot, to surprise. Rags to riches potential for sure. This guy is in the forefront. You know he's coming. So he's not a rags to riches necessarily. But he is 100% Geno Smith, Tua Tagovailoa, top 7 to 12 quarterback capable. And a guy that, let's say you draft a top 4 to 7 quarterback and they go down. You can turn to Jordan Love and he's going to surprise you. He's going to surprise you. This team looks good. It looks really good. The offensive line is actually quite impressive. A lot of people might say things like, oh, Smitty, they're going to fall apart without Aaron Rodgers. And look, as much as I love Aaron Rodgers for New York and what an amazing fit it is for New York, This is probably a top 5 to 7 offensive line in the National Football League in the Green Bay Packers. Some might not agree, and that's fine. That's why we play the game. They also start off with the Bears, the Falcons, the Saints, the Lions, the Raiders, a bye week, and the Denver Broncos. Wouldn't shock me if this team had 1, 2, 3, 4, we'll call it a 4-2 start to kick off the year. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they're 4-2 to kick off the season, coming off the bye week, getting that 4th win. Wouldn't shock me at all. And I am so on board the Christian Watson train. Yeah, Jaden Reed as well, looking good today. Again, top offensive line, good defense, obviously. Is it the best defense in the league? No. Is it good enough to give the offense rest? Is it good enough to give the offense good field position? Is this team good enough to be better than it would have been even if Aaron Rodgers returned? Yes, and that's a complicated statement and probably a confusing one, because someone might say, well, Smitty, if you think the team's better without Aaron Rodgers on roster, how can you love Aaron Rodgers so much for New York? Sometimes fit is important. Sometimes change is needed. Sometimes a guy like Jordan Love may not going to win a championship. You know, the Packers are going to be hard pressed to even make the playoffs. But from a fantasy football and developmental NFL perspective, building around this guy, could he have a better year than Aaron Rodgers would have if Aaron Rodgers was fighting really hard, not likely to make the playoffs or missing the playoffs by a hair, and then being not as motivated to throw the football, learn, and be productive? This guy's going to throw downfield. The Packers will probably be in close games or playing from behind at times, and they're going to be throwing the football. And Jordan Love's going to feed Christian Watson to the tune that's going to make us proud and make Christian Watson the Moon Man that we've had on our Moon Man list for so long. He's going to be so deserving in hindsight of this Moon Man nomination.
The Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
Christian Watson, ladies and gentlemen.
Space Moon says.
He's been on this Moon Man list as long as really anybody. Bijan, Gibbs, Watson, Olave, Garrett Wilson, those are all the early adopted players by the Fantasy Football Show. And you can let the haters hate. They can come in and say, Smitty,
The Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
Smitty, there's a lot of injuries. The Moon Man list is falling apart already.
Space Moon says.
You look at this list right now, Bob. You look at this list, Ludacris Lewis, and tell me that you truly believe this list is falling apart. Bijan Robinson, everyone's getting on this train. Gibbs, everybody's getting on the train now. We're conducting the train. No one was on the train when we started. Tony Pollard, let people doubt. Breece Hall, let people doubt. Dalvin Cook left, which is another piece of news. Dalvin Cook left New York without a contract, and he's headed back to Miami. So there's interesting news there. Swift, he's one of the riskier Moon Men we got. Pacheco cuffs. That means you're taking McKinnon. You're potentially taking Prince. It depends on the cuff situation that you're looking at. But Pacheco in cuffs is a fantastic running back. Look at these. I'm not worried about this man right here. We got 40-something days until he needs to be on the field, and people are freaking out left and right. And Pete Carroll made it really abundantly clear that it's not a big deal or anything like that. Almost word for word, if I remember correctly. Not like a big thing or anything like that is what the way he phrased it. I'm not concerned about Kenneth Walker. I'm drafting Kenneth Walker in steel territory because you know where he was going? The 4 to 5.1 territory. But now, with this news of him having a groin injury, he's falling to late 5. He's cemented into 5. He was going 4-5. Like, it depended on your draft spot. If you were drafting at the 5.10, then you had to take him in the early 4. You couldn't get away with this, 5.10 drafting of Kenneth Walker. Now he's nudged entirely at around 4. He's like a 5.3 to 5.12 guy, sometimes 6.1. And that's where we got him last year. That's where we won leagues or dominated and rubbed it right in people's faces last year with Kenneth Walker. And Joe Burrow is also falling into the 5-6 territory. They're both injured. It's not ideal, but if they're okay, and they do seem to be injuries we're not too concerned about, and if you let your mind wander too much and you say, well, Burrow's kind of hurt. What if? Who cares? Like honestly, until we have evidence that Joe Burrow's calf injury will be severe and not something that he can easily rest up and be fine, until we find out that the groin injury isn't just, it's not a big deal or anything, as Pete Carroll said, until we find out that it's more, are we going to run the risk? Are we running a bigger risk by not taking either one of these guys at their steel territory and letting somebody else take them? Is that a bigger risk than investing? And I say yes. I say Kenneth Walker, bigger risk avoiding him than taking him. Joe Burrow, bigger risk letting someone else get him in round 6 than to take him in round 6. And Joe Burrow is falling into this territory. It's crazy to me. I'm here to calm the storm. I'm here to do the best I can to reel people in. And is there going to be risk with Joe Burrow? Absolutely. And I'm going to do a video on Joe Burrow and Fields and why I think it's important if you have gone all in on Burrow all season long. There's nothing wrong. In fact, I encourage it to you to turn your majority share holding pieces of your future teams, turn them into a 60-40 Fields over Burrow. If I'm sitting there and Fields is there at 6.1 or 5.8, and I think Joe Burrow is going right around the same territory, I might draft Fields over Burrow in 60% of my leagues going forward until we hear a total update that he's fine. There's nothing wrong with that because I've consumed so much upfront Joe Burrow shares. I'm loaded, and I'm not going to dial it down. I'll take a 40% share of Joe Burrow going forward to accommodate and wash some of the risk and to lay off a little bit. And I'm going to go all in on Fields in a lot of ways going forward, not because I doubt Burrow. I will still do the 60-40 split, but I need more shares of Fields anyway, and this gives me a good excuse to say, now it's time to level it out kind of thing. So I encourage that. I don't encourage you to avoid Burrow. I think Burrow wins leagues in round 6. I think if you can get him in 6 versus Fields in 5, now Joe Burrow is better than Fields because of the ADP value, and then you got to weigh that out. But I do not discourage you to go ahead and divide up your shares at least 50-50. Go 50-50 Fields Burrow. Going forward, you do best ball drafts, Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty, and we go live every single. It's changing. It's changing now that we got the 8 p.m. show. We're gonna go live on Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty doing drafting Thursday, Friday, Saturday like usual. But we're gonna definitely moving forward. This is the new schedule moving forward. Monday through Friday, starting tomorrow. This is all changing. Monday through Friday. 8 p.m. Eastern instead of 7. That will never change. Well, I can't say never, but it's cemented in for the long term, okay? And that means that if daylight savings kicks in for you in October and it changes your 8 p.m. Eastern, then you got to accommodate for that. But it will stick to the 8 p.m. Eastern so we know what it is and it's not volatile. 8 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday instead of 7. I'm live whenever news breaks. That never changes. And I'm live at 1 a.m. instead of midnight Eastern because we have to keep some breathing room between the 8 p.m. show and the midnight show. Otherwise, they're just going to run into each other, and I can't do that. I got to have a couple hours of space in between. And I'm no longer doing the Monday, Wednesday necessarily off. We're going to go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday live, okay? The Sunday part is going to be flexible until kickoff, but this is the schedule. 1 a.m. Eastern, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, straight on. Okay? This is your start bench time. This is the crucial time. We're getting into the season. This is the schedule moving forward. We got some super chats coming in here. Super chats right here. We got Melvin dropping a $2 holler. Smitty to the moon. Appreciate you, Melvin. Melvin, I'm sending you to the moon. Young
To the
man.
moon.
Thank you, Melvin. Appreciate you. Tucker dropping a $5 holler, 10-man league. Tucker says, I'm taking Bijan at 1.4 in my redraft. What's the best team to build around him? Rounds 4 and 5, Bijan to the moon. Best player available. I wish I could give you a concrete answer like go wide receiver. It's not that way. You got to go with the flow. But in general, I will tell you that my favorite teams end up being something along the lines of if you're taking Bijan at 1.4, you know, if Garrett Wilson or St. Brown fall, you obviously snag those guys. If not, Olave is usually there, especially if you're drafting with your grandma and in an ESPN draft, or you're not drafting on Underdog with us, you're drafting with a bunch of sharks like us, then you're going to probably see Olave get snagged. But 9 times out of 10, Tucker, you're going to get Olave, and I'm going to take him because Olave could be a top 5 wide receiver.
A top 5 wide receiver hides among the people. His cost of entry is near illegal. Few see him coming. Many stay away. His name is Chris Olave.
So Olave in 2, then in round 3, you're looking at, I mean, honestly, bro, I it depends where you're drafting. That particular draft slot, I would not be afraid whatsoever to take Jahmyr Gibbs there, but you want to try and get him at 4 if you can. I'm very hesitant to say Gibbs in 3 to a lot of you because you have the opportunity. These people you're drafting with half the time don't know what time it is with Jahmyr Gibbs. They don't, and so you're really kicking yourself right in the nuts. You're giving yourself a nut shot, just right in the nuts, because you're grabbing Gibbs because you're excited and you're not reading the room. So it's up to you whether you're going to take Gibbs in the 3rd or 4th. If you take him in the 3rd, then the 4th round now opens up. You no longer need to take Walker there. You no longer need to take Burrow there. Those guys are downstream. Now in round 4, you get to do whatever you want. You could go a Watson. You could go a London. You could go a Debo. You could go a whole bunch of different players in round 4. Sometimes Stevenson falls. Sometimes weird players fall. I can't tell you. Round 4 is very tricky. You got to go best player available. But round 5, you start getting back into the conversation of the Burrows and Walkers, but you want to try and push them down too because of all the injuries, and you can get them both in potentially 6. You know, Burrow in 5 and Walker in 6 would be a smash. Fields in 5, Walker in 6, that would be a smash. I'd go in all those different directions, my guy. Okay, so like Bijan, Olave, Gibbs, Watson, Fields, Walker, walk to the bank. You know what I'm saying, bro? Overcome dropping a super chat, but is he a cowbell? I don't know. poor, what was his name? I even forgot already. It was Jimmy 44. Poor Jimmy 44. Jimmy, I hope you call in today because I love you, pal. Jimmy 44 gave us a lot of funny content, and Jimmy 44 is like a legend already. He needs to accept and embrace his legend legacy that he's currently earned already. He came in here talking about a cowbell. He's like, tell me how many other cowbells there are in the league when it is bell cow. So yeah, we want more cowbell. We want more cowbell. Rashard White cowbell. I love Jimmy. Jimmy, you better call in, bro. You better call in. We need more Jimmy in our life. That's for sure. Jimmy to the moon. Jimmy to the moon.
To the moon.
You become one of my favorite callers already. Thank you for the super chats, guys. Jordan Love, trust me. You don't have to invest in him in a way that's going to break you or lose your league. So if I'm wrong about it, it's one of those risks I'm willing to take and willing to shovel out there in a massive amount of confidence. Jordan Love is going to look really good. Jordan Love is going to be a nice surprise. And Jordan Love is going to feed Christian Watson with a spoon. And he's also going to feed the heck out of Luke Musgrave, Jaden Reed. This is going to be a pretty good offense. And I think everyone's going to have a problem saying, well, why didn't Aaron Rodgers do this? But the thing is, sometimes fit is just fit. Sometimes motivation is motivation. Sometimes it's all different for each individual player in each individual spot. Rodgers needed his reset. He got it, and he's going to thrive. He's surrounded by amazing talent. Jordan Love's going to thrive. They're both going to thrive. It's going to be almost awkward to watch both these guys balling out at the same time. It's going to be confusing, but it is what it is, and I truly believe it's going to happen. More bell cows, cowbell, Dijon to the moon. Let's go Deckard to the moon. Appreciate you, Deckard, for the super chat. Olave to the moon, that's right. Olave is going to the moon. I would rather draft Olave at his ADP over Garrett Wilson ADP personally. I keep telling people, that's Swaggy's comment, I keep telling people that when we say Garrett Wilson, we need to also in the same sentence, comma, also Chris Olave. So Chris Olave could absolutely be a top 5 wide receiver. Why is he? Well, he's got an animation for a reason. He's on the Mars Man.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars Man.
He's on the Mars Man list for a reason.
Loads dropping and spinning aimlessly in space.
There's a reason Garrett Wilson and Olave are both on the Mars Men list. The Mars Men list is a very special list. The Moon Men list is great, but the Mars Men list is elite. And when you have Olave sitting here on the Mars Men list, and we have Garrett Wilson sitting here on the Mars Men list, and they're both top 5, I don't want to hear, Smitty, why didn't you tell me that Olave could have been as good as Garrett Wilson? They're essentially the same. In some ways, Olave was as impressive, almost exactly as impressive with the quarterback carousel, the 1,000-yard season, the leading the league in air yards, Like, and he gets Derek Carr, who just throws missiles downfield. He proved that with Devontae Adams. You could doubt Derek Carr all you want, but if you're playing fantasy football, you need to understand what's going on. You got to understand that Derek Carr might be the very best thing Olave could have asked for. That's fantasy football. They don't need to win a championship. They don't need to even make the playoffs. They might, they will. We could have that debate all day long. But what matters is, does Derek Carr feed wide receivers, and does he laser lock onto them like Aaron Rodgers did? Yeah. Answer is yeah. And Winston would throw a bunch of air yards. He made Olave the top air yard master in the entire National Football League as a rookie until he went down. So you think Derek Carr is not going to throw put some air under the football? You're out of your mind. So Olave to the moon. There's a reason we continue to talk Olave all offseason long. The people that don't listen are going to feel pretty ashamed of themselves. Thoughts on Jameson Williams in the 10th? It's okay, but bro, he's missing 6 games. Like, I think Kadarius Toney's falling to the 10th right now. I'd rather take Toney than Jameson. Jameson played 6 games last year and only caught 1 pass, if I remember correctly. Is that correct? Somebody fact check me on that. 6 games he played. People think he just showed up in the final game, caught a nice touchdown pass, and that was it. That was, a great sample size. No. I'm not saying he won't get back to form. I like Jameson a lot, but he played 6 games, and he had 1 touchdown. What's the best option for his website? Yo, chat, what is the best option for his website? My website's thefantasyfootballshow.com. Chimp. So, Chimp, this is where you go to get your fantasy football content, my guy. You got rankings year-round, trade calculators, bold predictions, text advice. Go get some at the Fantasy Football Show, Chimp. It's all right there for you. All for the taking there. Neil with the super chat says, Smitty, what's up, Smitty? Any thoughts on these older running backs, and are these older running backs that are looking for a team still? Cook, Hunt, etc. Dalvin Cook left. Let me see if I can pull that news up and put it on screen, because that is still very, very important news today, and we must discuss that as well. Dalvin Cook left without a contract. He left New York without a contract and is headed to Miami, which is a very interesting development and choice of landing spot now, in terms of like where he's going right now. Here is Jeremy Fowler talking about this from ESPN. Let me drop this on the screen here. And there she goes. After spending Sunday with the Jets, Dalvin Cook has headed back to South Florida. By all accounts, his meeting with the New York Jets went well. He remains a free agent. And yeah, he goes to Florida, so let's just understand that. But that's another reason why people think he could go there, and he's leveraging New York. Now, New York gave him a nice little pat on the back, and to be honest with you, it was kind of sickening how the fan base just oblivious to what this would do to Breece Hall, in terms of you don't want Breece Hall even thinking about this right now. He's trying to come back from an ACL tear. I truly believe that he would overcome it with, flying colors, but I don't want Breece off target. I want him focusing on getting back, not worried about anything. And I don't think he would be necessarily, and he'll end up winning out on this. I'm not worried about it at the end of the day. It's just, to me, it would be disrespectful to bring in Dalvin Cook. And what I'm hearing is that they're not going to break the bank whatsoever to bring him in. And the tone was, you're coming in to support Breece Hall. That is the vibe I got from several people close to the situation. I can't guarantee that this is all accurate, because there's a lot of people talking about this, and there's a lot of different angles that are being pushed out there into the news world. So I don't really know, honestly, firsthand what is being said or what's going on. But from what I gather, it's been very, very clear to Dalvin Cook that he's coming in to support Breece Hall. And I don't know how he's going to take that. And they're also going to pay him at that level of money. And so he's going to have to swallow some pride. And it makes it a little bit tough to judge the situation, because if you watch the video of Dalvin Cook walking around practice, they're like, Dalvin Cook, and they're cheering his name and they're chanting, and this oblivious crowd. Just wanting controversy? No, you don't want controversy. They're just there excited, but they don't know football like the way they should. Sitting here at the screen, these are I don't know. They don't understand that this probably wouldn't be the best thing for the offense. Now, I would say that Cook would be an interesting add if something happened to Breece Hall, sure. But you don't want to take off the field your best player. You don't want him off the field. And so it wouldn't be a great move, I think, to bring Cook in and just remove carries and take carries away from Breece Hall. I don't think that would happen. But I also think that Cook was leveraging the New York situation to get more money from Miami. And I think he's back to Miami to go try and get a deal done there. But I don't think he likes the offer that was presented. I think he would have accepted it. He wouldn't have left without a contract if the money was right. And I think the Jets probably wined and dined him. So we really like you. We really like to have you here. The Jets fans were chanting, "We want Dalvin. We want Breece to feel uncomfortable." Like, they don't know what they're saying. I'm sorry, Jets fans, but you gotta understand what you're doing there. I think everything looked good, but then, like, you know, when you go to buy a car and the car dealer is really friendly with you and everything seems like it's going well, and then at the end he goes, "Okay, here's your payment, $700 a month," and then the friction starts happening. You're like, "Okay, you aren't my friend after all. I sat across from you thinking you were gonna do me solid, and now you're throwing down this $700 a month payment on me, Bob." That's how this probably went. I imagine. I'm guessing. I imagine that Dalvin Cook sat down after the entire thing and they said, "Look, we can only pay you, $1 million," and which would be great for any of us, right? But Dalvin Cook probably said, "That's not what I'm here to do." And he probably left a little bit upset that it didn't go exactly to plan. However, maybe the two connect again and there's some sort of middle ground. Maybe Dalvin Cook's offer wasn't as bad as I think, but I have a feeling that's why he left. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, let's go ahead and read the rest of this. That's that news. Jonathan Taylor, we've already talked about that a bunch, so we'll leave that for last. This right here, Alvin Kamara is going to meet with Roger Goodell and regarding his arrest and potential suspension. So we're definitely going to hear more about that. Okay, so hang tight on that. Appreciate you all enduring all my Alvin Kamara content the entire offseason. But I'm still drafting this man because he's still going in like the 7th and 8th round. It's crazy to me. He could bust. He could absolutely bust, but there's really no risk at that territory. So go ahead and keep drafting him. I think it's going to be a 2 to 4 game suspension. It might be a 1 to 3 game suspension. It could be anywhere in there. But the bottom line is this: the details of the situation are Alvin Kamara. It was a misdemeanor of public. What was it? Public. What was the? Let me look up the exact thing. Dalvin Cook charge. Alvin Kamara charge with. It was the original one was conspiracy to commit battery and battery resulting in bodily harm, and then what it ended up being at the end of the day was ridiculous. It was what was it? It was public. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. I want to get it right. I want to report it right. I don't want to say it wrong. Alvin Kamara. It's a ridiculous charge. All right, here it is. No contest misdemeanor charge to, here it is. Plead guilty to breach of peace. Breach of peace. And let me put this on screen here. Sorry, some of you might have already said it in the chat. So I'm trying to find it to make sure it's accurate. So here's Dalvin Cook's charge: breach of peace. So if anybody thinks so, now the league can do what they want in terms of like, okay, you didn't live up to the standard of the NFL, to the standards that we hold true, and we can suspend you alone for that for 3 or 4 games. Like, and they can. They have full discretion over that. But we've seen Deshaun Watson, we've seen a bunch of different situations unravel, and there's really no negative press on this Alvin Kamara situation. We're the only ones that go live on it. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody goes live on it. Nobody in the mainstream fantasy football space talk about it whatsoever. No one has the balls to say he should probably be suspended for the year for what he did, honestly, but I'm going to go ahead and draft him anyway. Instead, it's just me. It's just me going live on it. No one has gone live on this. When the first video was leaked, no one went live on it. When the second video was leaked, no one went live on it except for me, on both accounts. So when we look at this to the letter of the law in terms of suspension by the NFL for the misdemeanor itself, not the presentation or the keeping to the standards of the NFL, which again, they can do something on that. Saints running back Alvin Kamara pled no contest, not even guilty, no contest to a misdemeanor charge of breach of peace, which is like, I don't know, me going outside and yelling with my megaphone. Let's go, Jordan Love. Let's go, Jordan. Jordan Love. That's breach of peace. That's breach of peace. This didn't say he hurt an individual. Didn't say there's battery involved. This didn't say anything. So, let people run away from Alvin Kamara. I'll scoop them up at 7th and 8th round value all day long, or 8th and 9th round value. It just depends on who you're drafting with, what kind of Bob you drafting with. Okay, on to the news regarding JT. So JT, Tim Patrick was carted off the field earlier. It ended up being an Achilles tear, so his season is done, and his career is probably over at this point because he's had trouble staying healthy, and I have no faith in Tim Patrick moving forward, staying on the field. And it's a shame because he was getting a lot of buzz, like, oh, he's our number one wide receiver. He's the best wide receiver out there. But he's had the ACL, he's had a bunch of injuries, and he can't stay healthy. JT met with his owner. Okay? JT met with his owner behind closed doors. And they had a frank conversation where his owner said, We're not signing you. We're not extending you. We're not extending you. And you're under contract, for 1 year. Okay, they can franchise tag him. He is a free agent after this season. This is JT's contract right here. Okay? He's getting paid $4.3 million. He's got a dead cap hit. Let me highlight this so you can see it. He's got a dead cap hit. It's super reasonable. Probably one of the most reasonable dead cap hits in the National Football League. So here's his dead cap right here. Dead cap column. In 2023, $813,000. Now that sounds like a lot to the random Joe, but we're talking about, I think, Kirk Cousins having a $40+ million dead cap. We're talking about, I think, Diggs has a $50+ million dead cap. I think Debo's got like a $30 million dead cap, give or take. And so the point is here that when you have a dead cap of 813, it's not a big deal for a team to trade you. You're not hampering their checking account, okay? $4.3 million is a super reasonable amount of money for any team to pay an elite running back, let alone a guy like JT. Okay, so the tradability here is phenomenal. Like, you can trade him with ease because $4.3 million doesn't tax anybody, and $813,000 dead cap doesn't hurt the team sending him away, the Indianapolis Colts. Very, very feasible trade idea. They could get kicked into gear eventually, even though Irsay said, I'm not trading him. I'm not trading him. I won't trade him. Avi, put yourself on mute real quick while I finish all these points, and I'll come to you in a second. $4.3 million is a phenomenal amount of money to pay JT, and who cares if you've got to give up a second and a fourth rounder, you do some sort of Christian McCaffrey package, and you just pay the piper. You pay the piper, you get the running back in, and we've got several teams on screen we're going to talk about that are possible landing spots for him. But $4.3 million is nothing, okay? So there's that piece of information. He goes in, he wants a new contract. Irsay says, no, we're not doing it. He's made callous comments about the running back position. Irsay's made callous comments about running backs in general. He's made callous comments in regards to JT, saying that, oh, if I died and JT was out of the league, no one would care. These are all things that just throw fuel on the fire, and Irsay's starting to feel a lot like the vibes coming from like a Snyder. This feels like a Washington Commanders former ownership type of situation. Imagine running a team like this guy. Imagine not caring about your number one overall player. Look, I get it. He's under contract. I get it. He's under contract. But this isn't how you handle it. You handle it with care. You handle it with, hey, let me reel you in. Let me tell you that we have full intentions, if things go well, of signing you to a long-term deal after the season's over. But no, all we hear is, nope, not going to sign him. Running backs, we're not changing the market for the running backs or changing how the league handles running backs. Running backs are a dime a dozen. JT's out of the league next year. No one's going to care. This is not how you talk to or treat your number one overall player. And he is the number one overall player on the team. Make no mistake about it. It's not Anthony Richardson. Maybe it is someday. This is the number one overall player on this Indianapolis Colts team. And Irsay's just crapping all over him. And he says, you know what? I'm not trading you. JT says, I formally request a trade. Then they say, the answer from Irsay was, we are not trading Jonathan. End of discussion. We're not trading him now, and we're not trading him in October. We're not trading him, period. And so he says, or then we hear rumors that they're going to put him on the NFI list, the non-football injury list. Okay? Because of a back issue. JT comes out and says, never had a back issue. Never reported a back issue. Not sure who your sources are, but find new ones. This is messy. And I think the only way out of this is for them to trade him, and they need a team to step up and pay the piper so that the Colts have a way out of this. Because now Irsay's put himself in a corner, backed himself into a corner, probably will not change his mind unless a team comes by and says, we're going to give you an offer you can't refuse. So what happens from here? I don't know. I think Jacobs, if he went to one of these 4 teams, he would have, 5 teams? Do I have 5 teams here? 5 teams. JT would have better value on any one of these teams than he would in Indianapolis uniform. Every single one of these potential landing spots that I've cooked up, these are the ones that I feel would be good landing spots. We threw Minnesota in there as a potential landing spot, but I know a lot of Madison owners don't want that. And they do believe in Madison to a degree, so I don't know that they're going to go there. Same thing for, a couple other spots that could have been potentially thrown on this list. This is my list. Miami Dolphins. We don't know what's going to happen with Dalvin Cook. Chicago. I don't know that they're interested in it, but I think they should be. And I think it would turn that offense into an unstoppable offense in 2023 immediately. Not to mention they're already kind of there anyway. Buffalo, I don't know if they'd use him properly, but I assume he would do really well. Chargers, Thunder and Lightning approach. It doesn't sound good to Eckler owners, but it's great for JT and his long-term value because Eckler's got maybe the 1 year left. Maybe longer if they put him back into his receiving role. Because Eckler was one of the best receiving backs in the National Football League. It still remains that way. But he was like untouchable in that category because he was like way more receiving than he was rushing. Now he's running up the gut, and doing so is going to shorten his career. But if he flips back real quickly to a 70-30 role, a 70-30 split in terms of 70% receiving work, 30% rushing, he gets you 1,000 yards receiving and 450 rushing yards, all of a sudden you might get a year and a half, 2 years out of Eckler at an elite level. Whereas right now, he could walk into this season and get injured by week 10, running up the gut, trying to carry the entire team on his back. And Kellen Moore likes multiple running backs, so this fits the bill for that potential, approach. Chargers would be great for JT. Baltimore Ravens, they're dealing with J.K. Dobbins, who apparently thinks he can hold out. He apparently thinks he could hold out. He apparently thinks he's got legs to stand on this, but he does not. And the team has come out and said this is a really complicated situation. I wouldn't be surprised if they said 4.3 mil. Let's support Lamar. Get it done. Bye, JK. Hope that was fun for you. I hope you get what you want out of that, JK, because you just lost your job. It's as simple for JK to lose his job. Baltimore, Chargers, Buffalo, Chicago, Miami. Every one of these landing spots is better than this toxic situation where he's not going to be motivated. He's not happy to even play football. His quarterback's going to vulture touchdowns. The offense is changing again. There are going to be a lot of stacked boxes against him because they don't really have a lot of receiving options. Some people try and get excited about Pittman and Alec Pierce, and I get it, but this team's not going to throw like you think in year one as Anthony Richardson gets his feet under him and he vultures JT's touchdowns. Every single one of these spots is better for JT's fantasy value. Even the crowded backfield in LA It is. So my interpretation of this situation, in order to get fixed, is to get traded, or I'm fading them. I'm already fading every single Indianapolis Colt. I'm not going near them. Not one. Not Pittman. I don't care if they run. Oh, Pittman's going to open up. I don't agree. I think no one's going to be moving the football down the field effectively if you don't have this guy on the field. You take away your best player, how in the hell can the offense be better? It's not. JT needs to be traded or he's in a void. It's the cold, hard truth. And I'm staying away from, even if he stays, I'm staying away from every Indianapolis Colt in 2023. Plain and simple. And that's just the way it is. And you can disagree with me if you want, but I'm drafting not one single Colt player, whether JT stays or not. The fantasy football phone lines are open. Let me put this caller on hold here. 603 caller, you're live. Who's this? Tell me where you're calling from.
Hampshire.
What's up, Harrison? Let me put you on hold because Avi's been waiting, Harrison, and I'll come right back to you. Okay, pal?
Sounds good, bro.
All right, Harrison, from where? New Hampshire?
Yes, sir.
Harrison, New Hampshire. Gotcha. Okay, Avi, talk to me. You're live.
Yo, what's going on, Smitty? Yeah, I totally agree with you. The Colts are a mess. I like Jonathan Taylor. If he plays for the Colts this year, I don't think it's going to work out well. Like, there's too much drama going on. And even Pittman, I would not take. Like, he doesn't have the best new quarterback there. So the whole Colts, I agree, are a mess. You should stay away. There's just better options.
Stay clear. Just run. No, I don't care if JT stays.
Yeah.
If he goes, I especially avoid all Colts. And there's no Michael Pittman resurgence if JT's gone. It's so crazy the way people want to talk themselves into Michael Pittman. I like Pittman. Look, first of all, we got Pal Derby dropping 50 gifted memberships. Then he comes in and drops another 50 gifted memberships. He's dropped 200 gifted memberships. Pal Derby's at risk of becoming the highest gifted membership person in a single live stream. I hate to break it to him, it is 200 by DW, who hasn't shown up for a month or so. I'm really worried about DW. Oh, where's that at? Hold on. Here's the DW. The highest gifted membership all-time record is 250 by DW. But I'm not asking Pal Derby to overstep that. I'm just merely letting you know you're on the verge, pal. You're getting there. You're the closest anybody's been in a long time to that. So I appreciate that. Pal Derby dropping 2, and that deserves a $20 hauler, ovation at least, even though it's way over that.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Pal Derby to the moon. Appreciate you, pal. Okay, go ahead, Avi. I'm sorry. Continue.
No, I don't really got much else. Other guys can talk. I just think the Colts, just stay away. Like, there's no reason you should go after them.
Pal Derby. Pal Derby to Mars. Yeah, I agree. Why go after a Colt? What good can come out of going after a Colt player at this point? All right, Avi, hang tight. Harrison from New Hampshire, hang tight real quick. Let me get this caller on hold. 337 caller, you're live on the show. Who's this?
New Orleans, and I'm just happy to finally hear somebody that agrees with me with the Alvin Kamara situation that's going on right now, because I drafted a lot of Alvin Kamara. I also drafted a lot of Kenneth Walker. So, it's finally good to hear somebody that agrees with me, and I think I'm going to be a new listener to your show and everything. So, so I'm rooting for you, and I hope everything goes well, because I drafted a lot of those two players.
I appreciate you, buddy. Hang tight. Stay on the phone. Don't drop off. We're going to keep you on. We do a little panel thing once in a while where all of you kind of hang out and we just kind of chime in. So hang tight. Let's go back to Harrison. Harrison, go ahead. You're live, pal.
Hey, Smitty. I just have a quick question. So I'm in a 12-team, 1-point PPR league format, and they just released our draft order, and I got the 101. And I had Jefferson last year at the 103, but I kind of don't want to take him again because I like to root for a new player every year, basically.
Okay.
So would it be crazy to take Chase over Jefferson?
No, I take Chase over JJ almost every time. I mean, not every time. I'd say like maybe 30%, 20 or 30% of the time I might take JJ. Or take Bijan. You know?
That's also what I wanted to ask. Like, is it crazy to take Bijan at the 101?
No, it's not at all. I think you'll get people laughing at you. About 100% of the rest of the league will laugh at you. But, you know, who cares? But you could trade down is probably the better approach. And that might be where someone could actually justify a little bit of a laugh and just that, bro, you could have traded to 4. Why didn't you? Oh, I don't know. I just wanted to reach. You know, so like there is that argument. Like trade down to 4. If you trade down to 4, you're almost guaranteed Bijan in 99.99999% of the situations, unless one of us are in the draft.
I would even think about 5, like a 105.
I wouldn't.
Jefferson, McCaffrey.
I wouldn't risk it. I wouldn't risk it. I would say 4 is good, but if you were to trade down, but you could do 5. If you trade down to 4, I mean, bro, all you got to do is think about like where's the draft got those league winners sitting in the 4th and 5th round are really good, in the 3rd round especially. So if you could.
This year.
So if you could move your 3rd rounder into 2, which probably be hard to do, but you could, you probably have a better shot at moving like your 6th rounder into the bottom of 4 or something weird like that to make that change. And then all of a sudden you got, instead of a 6th rounder like and I love Pacheco. I'm just giving you an example of my best case scenario so that I can actually fight this with honesty instead of like trying to throw a bad name out in the 6th round. So let's use a player I love, Pacheco, to turn Pacheco into a 4.12, you know, player. They could be a difference maker. Like, you know, I mean, just depends on who you like. I mean, I've seen Olave fall there. But,
like a Justin Fields around there.
Yeah. Even if it was the 5th round. So let's say 7. Let's call it the 7th round into Fields in the 5th. Like, that is worth, obviously, moving down to get a guy you were going to take anyway. You know, like Bijan. You get Bijan, you turn your 7th rounder into Justin Fields or Joe Burrow, and you're literally so ahead of the game, bro. Like, that's what I would do. But if I didn't, I'm definitely taking Chase 1.1. He's my 1.1 this year.
All right, I just wanted to say thank you once again. Have a great night, Smitty.
All right, you can hang tight if you want, Harrison, on hold. Let's go back to Clinton. Clinton, what else did you have?
Oh, yeah, I also wanted to ask you a question about, okay, I'm in Louisiana, so I can't do no underdog drafts, but I've been doing a hell of a lot on DraftKings, you know, and like pretty much the same kind of deal, but I'm watching a lot of content from like people doing underdogs, so I'm wondering if that's any advantage, like watching people doing underdog, but yet doing it on
yeah, I mean, we don't do it. We don't do anything. We don't do
that work? I've just been doing fantasy for about 3 years now.
Yeah, we don't do anything on the other platforms. I'm solely underdog, so that's really all I talk about. But underdog, it's fine. But underdog, you know, it's such a fun. It's so much easier to do it. I know you can't do it, but hopefully that opens up to you soon. Or if you travel, I don't know if you can do it if you travel or whatever, but underdog, yeah, I mean, I don't really know. We don't play on any other platforms right now, so I don't really know what the ADPs are or how it's going to translate over. But I would just say that, you know, in general, underdog ADP is pretty good, and I think that it's a little higher in some cases with some players because I think a lot of people know what they're doing on it. You know, so like Olave's got a 2nd round ADP on underdog. Maybe he's a little later somewhere else, or maybe he's a little later in your grandma league. Seems like ESPN has some crazy ADPs that you can take advantage of. You just want to use, no matter what platform you're on, you just want to use that suggested rank as your guide. Because I'm not saying draft around it, I'm saying manipulate it. So if Olave's floating up to the 18 overall player and he's like 2 picks away and you're on the clock, you got to take him because he's not going to last. But if he's like 15 players down because that ADP data is like horrible, then you know you can let him fly into the 3rd round, let it ride, and come in and scoop him up. But you have to manipulate and draft around the ADP so that you could take advantage of it. You know, because underdog, Olave's in the 2nd round. ESPN, he can go in the 3rd and 4th round. There are a lot of analysts out there that create like content or something. They'll throw a graphic up on Instagram and it'll come by my feed and I'll see it and it'll be like, who of the 3 of the experts on this draft did better? And you look down at it and you see Olave in the 4th round and you're like, come on, guys. You know, they don't even mention it. Like, hey, do you think this is gonna happen? It was just like, whose team's better? You know, it's like the guy casually has Olave in the 4th round. It's like, come on, bro. That's like me putting a graphic up going, whose team's better between me and these 4 guys? And you just plug Bijan, you Photoshop Bijan into the mid-2nd round. It's like, come on. Like, so it depends where you're drafting.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've also noticed, like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting another call. I'm going to have to let y'all go. Sorry about that.
All right, no problem. Sorry to keep you, Clinton. We'll see you later, pal. Smitty, you should try other platforms. We don't. I'm exclusive to Underdog, Omar. That's just the way it is. Let me ask you a question, Omar. Do I look like the kind of man that's going to go to a different platform right now? Does this sign speak to you in a certain way that your boy is an underdog man at the current moment in his life? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. They've taken care of your boy, and we're taking care of them. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. If anybody wants to draft with us on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Let's do it live. Okay, we're doing some drafts. Go ahead, Avi. What else you got?
Yeah, Underdog Fantasy's best. About the Jefferson Chase thing, I don't think you can go wrong. And if you want to take Bijan, I wouldn't take him 1 overall just because Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase are so proven already. Like, yeah, you have to trade back if you want Bijan. I'm sorry, but I think you have to take Jefferson or Chase at first pick. I'm not saying Bijan can't be number 1, but I feel like if you take him 1, you're kind of missing out on JJ a little. If you know what I mean. That's all.
Yeah, I hear you, but I feel the same way about Chase though. Yeah. Like Chase is my 1, and I don't even hesitate. I take him out. Well, I mean that's fine. I don't even play around. I just take him 1. You know, if I don't trade down to 2 to get him because I want him. And I want the guy to get cute in front of me and grab him. Chase to me is gonna as long as Burrow's okay, which all indications are more that he is than he isn't. So I think people are just in panic mode and making up stuff in their head. Like, let me just think of the worst case scenario. If Chase has Burrow all year, which I fully anticipate, I think he's gonna catch over 15 touchdowns of over 1,500 yards, and I think he's going to have well over 100 receptions. I think he's going to have that big season, and I'm not hesitating drafting him.
I think JJ's a little safer, though, just because him and Kirk Cousins, you got Addison on the side. You know, they lost Dalvin Cook. So Jefferson, the Vikings are going to be trailing. They're going to be in a lot of –
yeah.
Jefferson just is more the stable pick.
I disagree. But it doesn't mean that you can't have this argument. You know what I mean? Like your argument makes sense, but I don't think I don't agree. I don't agree, but I appreciate the argument. I think that Joe Burrow's more stable. I think the Bengals offense is more stable, but I also think that but we're talking about splitting hairs here for the 1 and 2 overall pick. Like, this is where Ron would argue with me on this. I'm like, Ron, we're arguing one versus 2. Like, I'm not saying that Jefferson's not going to be amazing. Like, he's the clear 1 or 2 wide receiver overall. I'm just saying when it comes to me, I see Burrow and the Bengals offense is just the reason I'm pushing him over. I see the touchdown production that I think Cousins probably won't provide him, even though he provides him with more yards. Like, you could argue that. But I think 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns, 100-plus receptions, and the potential any given season to be the only receiver in the National Football League right now that I think can get over 20 touchdowns in a single season. I don't think it doesn't happen every year, but there is a season coming in the next handful of years. It could be this year, it could be next year, it could be the year after, where Jamar Chase pulls in 20-plus touchdowns like Randy Moss did.
Oh, yeah. I also have a question. I did this trade like a month ago in the Dynasty League. I traded Patrick Mahomes, and I got Joe Burrow and Dameon Pierce. I needed an RB badly. I had no RBs.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind that.
That's fine, right? I traded Mahomes and got Joe Burrow and Dameon Pierce. That was a good trade.
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
I could understand either side of it, but I definitely, I like Burrow enough that give me Pierce all day. I like doing that move with like a Christian Watson. I love doing that move with a
Yeah.
I mean, you might be able to do that with Walker right now. You might be able to trade Jalen Hurts for Joe Burrow and Walker, 2 injured players, and I, you could say that that's risky, sure.
Yeah. I like Joe being dynasty though. In dynasty, I think the Bengals. I think they're going to be good.
We got a draft report. Incoming. We need to have a sound or a button for that. Smitty, Walker just went 6.6 in this BB draft right now on Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Walker went 6.6. Unbelievable, guys. I don't understand. The freak out is not proportionate. It's just not a proportionate freak out. And I think everybody needs to take full advantage of this while you still can, because it's not going to, this opportunity could close. The door could close as quickly as it opened, similar to how it did so with Saquon Barkley. When Barkley was, I don't know if you remember, there were a couple people in here that were like, I wouldn't even take him, at all, or I wouldn't even take him in the 3rd round. It's like, it's gonna subside. This situation is going to subside, and it did. And now Barkley's going around 1 again. Like, we were able to get Barkley at 3, and now he's back in 1. So Walker at 6.6 is win a league material.
I took Barkley 3rd round last year, and I got hated for it, and he almost won me my league. I got him 3.1 last year. That's where I took him. It was nice.
Yeah. Well, all right. Hey, let me hit the phone line button here. Everybody, call in.
Yeah.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
So is Kamara going to get suspended or not?
Kamara's. It wouldn't shock me if he didn't get anything, but
I feel like it's going to be like 4 max. I feel like it's going to be like 3 to 4 now.
Yeah, it's 1 to 4. 1 to 4.
Yeah.
It's 1 to 4 probably. Could it be 4 to 6? I highly doubt it, because they haven't put up a stink at all. Like, if the NFL comes out and goes, look, for what you did, you should be 6 games for disrespecting, the integrity of the league, then you would ask yourself, why didn't you do this earlier? If this is so disrespectful, wouldn't you just put them on paid leave? Because you could have done that. They should have done that. They should have put them on paid leave and said, go work out your problems. We can't technically, to the letter of the law, suspend you, but until this legal process plays out. But we can certainly put you on paid leave, which is not a punishment, in a sense, because they're paying them, and say come back when it's all resolved. They didn't. So for them to throw a 6-game suspension now would be shocking, because then you'd be admitting you should have did something. All right, hang tight real quick. Jay Farr, you're live.
Hey, Smitty, how you doing?
I'm good, bro. What's up?
I'd like to talk about Jahmyr Gibbs ADP. To me, last year, Swift was going at a higher ADP, and I think now they got rid of Swift. Jahmyr Gibbs is taking that same role. He's a more talented player than Swift. I see him as an extreme value at round 3. What do you think about that?
You know what I think, about that. But
I know how you think about that. But
you just want to hear it. You just want to hear it again. Look, I don't blame you, because I like saying it. Let me play this little science for you. This is a little science behind it. But the continuum of the gigawatt component structure of Jahmyr Gibbs' workload divide has a megawatt offload that, if you compartmentalize the component conjunction timekeeper and you flux capacitor out the continuum component megabolt, things just end up happening. And that's why Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 to 10 running back instead of top 6 to 10. It's science, bro. It's science, and it speaks for itself. Jahmyr Gibbs deserves to be way higher than the mid-3rd round. I hesitate every time to say that. And one reason I'm not like tripling down or quadrupling down on Gibbs content is because I'm trying not to overdo it, because I've already done a lot of Gibbs content, but if I overdo it too much right now, I'm going to, don't worry, that we're going to start having our people drafting him in the 2nd round. And we can't have that right now, because he's falling so much later. So, like, we have so many impatient Ians in here. And, I love you all. I love you all. I accept you all for who you are. I'm not mad at you. I absolutely love how impatient some of you are. Don't change. None of you change. But I've got to cater to that a little bit and say, I've got a lot of impatient Ians in my live stream. And I don't want to get people so ramped up that I get people going, Smitty, you better be right. I just took him at 12 overall. And I'm going to be like, what are you doing, bro? I didn't say that. I said he's going to be top 10, but you draft him in the 3rd round. But no, I mean, Gibbs could be, if you want to quite honestly know my running back like rankings end of season, he's in my top 4.
Absolutely. I think so too.
So, I mean, people don't want to hear, some people don't want to hear that. Some people want to hear that. Some people don't want to hear that. But when I'm ranking my redraft running backs, he's 4 or 5. At the end of the day, I'm not drafting him there. That's why I don't usually say that number. But when I'm trying to predict how it's going to fall, he's 4 or 5. Bijan's 1. He's 4 or 5. Changing of the guard. Oh, Smitty, they haven't taken a snap yet. They're rookies and they've never taken a snap yet. How can you say that? I can say it because I did. It's my show and I can say what I want.
Smitty, let me ask you one more thing.
Yeah.
Do you mind? Hey, what do you think about Jared Goff's value? I just love that team around him, St. Brown, Gibbs. I think he has a pretty deep running core. The offensive coordinator is probably top 10 in the league. What do you think about Jared Goff's value right now?
I think he's got the same kind of value that Goff had and Geno had, like, end of year, like where we're like, holy crap, these guys actually kind of deserve to start. Can you guys hear me okay on the phone, or is it kind of far away?
No, we hear you good.
Okay. Yeah, this is just one of those things where it's like, can you draft him to be a starter? No. Just like Love, you can't really draft him to be a starter, but he can be your backup and slip into your starting lineup. So Goff shouldn't be your starter. I mean, some people like to rotate like an Aaron Rodgers and Goff or a Love and Goff, and I'm okay with that, but I just think the value is so good in Fields and T-Law and Joe Burrow that there's no reason to even go that deep into the draft to get your quarterback. I understand the concept of, let me just get a bigger value. Let me see if I can get a bigger value. But at some point, like, take the value that you get what you pay for, type of thing. And when you get Fields and Joe Burrow, who, in my opinion, Fields and Joe Burrow both fully deserve to be in the same drafted round as Mahomes and Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts, but they're not. Therefore, you're going to take advantage of it. But I just don't see how those values aren't enough for people. They still want to go seek out something in the 10th or 11th round because that's how their dad showed them how to play fantasy football. You don't take a quarterback, sonny boy. You just make sure you wait. Well, at some point, you got to say to yourself, yeah, I'm taking Fields in 5 or I'm taking Burrow in 6, but goodness gracious, man. Like, he belongs in 2. What more do you want? What more do you want? Gibbs, same thing. Taking Gibbs in the mid-3rd, but try and get him at the top of 4 if you can because he falls there a lot. Your grandparents don't know that Gibbs is going to pop off. Underdog doesn't know. Underdog Fantasy doesn't know that Gibbs is going to pop off. And that's why one of the very, very best Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty higher lows is Jahmyr Gibbs' 580 yards. Let me see if I can find that bad boy and drag it on screen. This is one of the best higher lows that they have out there. Here it is. Look at this bad boy. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. They'll match up to $100 in your first deposit. This is how we draft. I'm going to drop the link in the live chat right now. And make sure you click that and sign up now so you can draft with us on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You got to sign up ahead of time. You don't want to be caught with your pants down trying to get in there and signing up. And look at this. Look at this high or low here. Jahmyr Gibbs, 580.5 yards. I don't even know if they've altered that a little bit or what. But they don't anticipate him doing well. Like they look at him and they say, oh, this is what your grandma does. Looks at it and says, oh, he hasn't done anything yet. Let's set a little moderate, number when we all know he's going to come out and probably get this in a quarter of the season. Maybe 5-6 games he could get this. Not saying he would get it in the first 6 weeks. I'm just saying there will be a point in Jahmyr Gibbs' rookie season where you could probably identify 6 games in a row somewhere where he gets 580 yards rushing. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited about Jahmyr Gibbs, and he's an absolute smash. Let's go to Marsman Ron Navy. What's up,
Smitty?
What's up, Marsman?
Well, I'm sure I'm going to piss some people off, but I really don't care. Kamara is not a good person, and he's got karma in his name, and I really hope if the NFL doesn't do the right thing, like the legal system failed, our legal system totally failed, and I hope he doesn't make it through the season. I know we don't like to say that stuff, but in my heart, that's how I feel. I really hope he don't make it through the season. He doesn't deserve to be playing football as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I can't sit here and say
on video, we all saw it. There's no denying it. What happened happened. He can't deny it. The legal system failed us, and yeah, I just can't stand people getting away with that. He's a bad person. He's a bad person, and he's not a good person, and he doesn't deserve. He doesn't even deserve the job. He needs to be on the street somewhere, panhandling or something. That's what I hope for Kamara.
I can't say that there's anything wrong with your thinking, Ron, because of what he's done is not acceptable. So I'm not gonna condone it necessarily, but I'm certainly not gonna say that, Ron, you have unjustified thinking here, because I think a lot of people share your opinion. I mean, Kamara is just skating by, and
I am dealing with it, Axe, and guess what? I don't care. I don't care what anybody in the chat says. That's what I feel, and that's what's out there, because he is a terrible person.
What did Axe say? Oh, he said deal with it. Yeah. Look, you guys got to understand. Ron's not wishing injury upon a normal human being. He's not necessarily even saying that. He's being very loose with his comments. He's saying he hopes maybe somebody comes by and maybe gives him the same dose of his own medicine. Is probably what Ron's referring to. But yeah, I mean, look, I wish I could stand on principle and say, I'm not going to draft him, and I'm not going to condone drafting him. But, my job is a little different than the average person's job. And so my job is to say, look, I mean, I've been pretty clear about how I feel about Kamara. I've told everybody he belongs no longer in the league. He should be suspended for the entire season. And if I was the commissioner, I would suspend him for the entire season. And I'm out here drafting him. I'm out here telling you guys to take advantage of the 7th, 8th, and 9th round value. But I've been very abundantly clear that I'm completely against what he did. I don't think he should be playing football. And I've had him on the Uranus list for the entire season.
And off he goes.
And I forget his name. Who was the running back for Baltimore?
Ray Rice. Ray Rice. Rice.
Just because if that would have been anything other than a woman, he would have been still playing football, and that's ridiculous. I don't care if it's a man, a woman, or anybody. It doesn't matter. When you act like that, guess what? He was out of the league for that.
Hey, can I also say this? And I don't mean for anybody that loves animals to get mad at me or anything, but if this was an animal, I'm not saying animals aren't people too. I love animals. I'm just saying if it was an animal, he would have been out of the league. So why is a human being? Why is a human being worth less than it should be? I'm not saying it's animals worth less. I'm just trying to prove a point. Mike, that's where I was going. Michael Vick didn't even dog fight, but he allowed this little, to my knowledge, he allowed this organization of dogfighting to kind of happen under his wings, and guy went to prison. Was out of the league. And I'm not saying anything bad. I love dogs. Dogs are a man's best friend. Dogs are the best thing in the world. I love dogs. And if I saw somebody doing something to a dog, I would lose it. So I want everyone to understand that. I'm just saying that this human being, he can get. I guess some people would say that the dog can't fight back. and that the guy could have fought back. But the guy couldn't fight back. He was literally, if you watch the video, he was just getting absolutely blasted, as if he was just like a unconscious, like, slug. And everyone, says, it's just a fight. It's just a little fight. It's just, I don't know.
Yep. Smitty, I guarantee, and this is Terry, by the way, I guarantee you, if that was just someone like me or you instead of Kamara, we would have been in prison.
Yeah, Terry would be calling in with a 2-minute timer from a collect call. It would sound a little something like this.
Right.
It'd be like,
but now,
I mean, I completely agree with you, Ron. Kamara is so wrong for this. He's not a good person. He doesn't. You
have a click call. This guy called him the N-word, and then they got to have some kind of consequences for that. I mean, Alvin Kamara acted out at being. I mean, that guy got what he asked for in a way. I mean, he has to have some kind of responsibility for that.
Let's he used the N-word on the guy.
Let's not go. Let's not go there.
That's what happened.
Hey, I'm a white guy, and maybe I'm a little biased, but I'm from New Orleans. But that guy has a little bit to do with the situation happening.
Let's move on. I don't want this to go in a weird direction. Let's just move on. Let's move on.
That's a cop-out. Kamara said that to get off.
All right.
He doesn't want the bad publicity.
I understand. We can move on.
Let's move on from this topic. I really don't want to talk about Kamara today, and I appreciate Ron's stance. And Ron, a lot of people agree with you, so let's leave it at Ron with a W, and a few people that are going to hate it, and that's fine. But back to Jordan Love. I want to know who here saw that crispy little touchdown toss that Jordan Love threw to Christian Watson today. That was very, very similar looking to the one he threw to him during the season last year. The rapport between these two looks amazing. Christian Watson looks amazing, and I'm excited for Jordan Love's season. I'm excited for Christian Watson's season. Is anybody here not on board the Jordan Love or Christian Watson train, or maybe on board the Christian Watson train, but barely on board the Jordan Love train, but enough that you like Christian Watson, or are you out entirely? So let's start off with Ron. Ron?
What's that?
Ron, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Christian Watson, Jordan Love. How do you feel about it? Love connected with him on a big, long touchdown strike today, and it looked very similar to the touchdown connection they had in during the season in 2022. With the short sample size, the half a game, but they scored on it together. They connected, and they did it again in practice today. It looked very similar, and the whole crowd. I know it's a scrimmage and all that, or it's a practice, but
they did it in a game. So they're just improving their connections. It's going to be great this year. It's going to be a good combo.
I'm hearing such good things about him, and his team's talking him up. And when you see him make the throws, I mean, we actually have video of him out there doing it, so it's not like we're remembering half a game and that's all we have. We have him going through the motions in camp and in practice, and he looks really smooth. He's making the connections. I think Love is going to be so much better than people think. I'm not saying he's top 5 or 6. I just think he's going to be in the 8 to 12 easily.
Remember, Aaron Rodgers had to wait behind Favre to get his shot. And when it happened, Aaron Rodgers came in and he started killing it. And I think it's the same thing with Love. Love's behind Aaron Rodgers.
He looks good.
Now he's got his chance. Very possible.
I said on the live stream, I think it was last night or the night before, that it would not shock me at all if Jordan Love outscored Christian Watson in Fantasy Football 2023. And people didn't like it. They were in the chat. They were definitely getting upset about it. But I'm just telling you how I feel. And Carrie says, can we please get a Watson animation? A Christian Watson animation? Absolutely. A Deshaun Watson animation? We already have one. It's right here.
We have one. Yeah, he's in the Yeah. I love it. Yeah.
And Dalvin Cook's on here too. And everyone always wonders why. Well, he's got the domestic, this abuse situation still lingering. So he's got it. Kamara's.
And Smitty, like you were saying earlier, I'm really shocked that he's going to Miami to get a second team looking at him. Because I'm glad he's not. He may go to New York, but if he does, I'm not scared anymore.
Well, remember he went to Miami. Miami's his first. That was the first landing spot. The Vegas odds were Miami, and then it shifted over to New York. But he left New York, which I don't think he would have left New York if it wasn't a low money, low ball offer. Like I think he felt the vibe. But what I heard, and again, I don't know 100%. I don't know 100% if this is totally accurate or if it's been kind of like embellished or whatever, but that it was kind of like an amazing experience for him. The fan base was chanting his name, which was ridiculous because I think they don't really understand what the ramifications are if they bring in a distraction for Breece Hall versus, hey, let's enable Breece Hall. I think he'll still overcome it no matter what. I'm not worried about Dalvin Cook. He's injury prone and he's getting older, but just, that's not something you want to hear. You're the number one running back and the crowd's chanting Dalvin Cook. It was just stupid. It was just stupid for the fan base to be doing that, in my opinion. But so it all seemed like a fairy tale for him. He's smiling. He was getting wined and dined on the sidelines. And able to go to the practice on the sidelines, that was weird. That was really weird. So you figure, okay, the Jets are very interested. But what I heard was once they sat down, it was a whole different situation where it was like, hey, you're here to support Breece Hall, and you're the money's gonna match that sentiment, and it did, and I think that's why he left, because it was like a nice presentation. You sat down, and then it's kind of like when the car dealer has been so nice to you the entire time. The car dealer has been walking you around. Oh yeah, we'll figure it out. When the car dealer says to you, yeah, what's your budget? And you tell them, and they're like, yeah, we'll work around that. We can make something happen. And you're like, all right. You're walking into the car dealership. You get there, and then a switch gets flipped, and he's like, well, I don't make any of those decisions. Here's my finance manager. And they're like $7,000 monthly payment. That's what I think probably happened. Wined and dined, made him feel great, sat down at the table and said, look, here's the deal. And Dalvin probably said, that's not what I felt like. I'm out of here. But I do think that maybe they're closer in money than either the possibility could be that they're closer in money than we think. And then at that point, it's like, all they have to do is nudge that around a little bit and then get him in. But I think he likes New York. I think he really likes New York. I think he likes how the fan base treated him. I think that's important to him. It's just going to come down to money. And I think Miami, he's leveraging New York initially for Miami, but maybe he's fallen in love with New York as he's done that. But I do think he's still leaning Miami at this point, but I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. I certainly don't want it. I'm certainly going to be, like I said, kind of like mad that the Jets would do that to Breece Hall because he's in the middle of an ACL recovery and it's his team and everybody knows it's his team, and why they would bring in such a big name and distraction while he's trying to go through everything and process everything and get right. I just think it's not a great. He'll overcome it, but it's not a great distraction. I don't want it for Breece. It's not because Breece can't overcome it. I just think Breece could be put in the ideal situation if it's not this, you know what I mean? It just doesn't feel ideal for his recovery. But we'll see. I know a lot of people think that's just a biased take. I think the Jets aren't dumb to want him as a reserve and to pay him. So I think the Jets ultimately may have done what I would probably have done myself, to be honest, is like, hey, we would be dumb not to get Dalvin Cook, but we certainly need to make sure he knows he's not the guy. Like, he's going to spell Breece Hall. If we need him to play a little more in week 1 and week 2, he's going to play more in week 1 and week 2. He's going to be there in case something happens to Hall, because he'd be a good player to throw in there. But I would make it abundantly clear that this is Breece Hall's team. Our best player needs the football, and you're not it. You're not it. Breece Hall is the best running back on the team by far. So I just don't know what's going on there.
If our community would have been there in New York, every time they chanted Dalvin Cook, we would have been Breece's Pieces.
All right, hey, let me get let me get these super chats out real quickly. Hold on. Rodgers or Jordan Love? I mean, I'm taking Rodgers, but I think Love is going to surprise people to a extreme degree. And so I have a Rodgers and Love sleeper video coming out soon. So hang tight for that. Derek Hollins with a super chat. He's dropping a 10 wad.
to the moon.
That's my boy Derek. Derek's back. I think I might have. What did I say to Derek last time? I made Derek take a lap or something, but I forget. So Derek, I have no recollection of it. Superflex 12-man draft this Saturday. Should I go QB, running back at the 4th pick? If so, should I try and go get Hall at 3rd and Gibbs in the 4th round? I do like that idea. London or Watson probably after that even would be available, just the way that Superflex rolls, and Ridley would be amazing. I would say to you that go watch my how to dominate a Superflex draft video. If you search that term on YouTube, you should see my video, and that will explain what to do from the 1 through 6 pick essentially, and how to dominate. But essentially it's take, the quarterback for sure, flip back to running back, wide receiver in the 2nd, 3rd, and maybe even 4th round, depending on if you can get Love or Aaron Rodgers as your second quarterback. But that is my strategy for 2023. I don't necessarily go running back, wide receiver. You can't do that. You got to take the best player. Go with the flow, Derek. Don't draft a position, draft a player. That's my slogan. And you can't plan for anything except for going quarterback. So I go quarterback, and then I revert back to running back or wide receiver, because I'm not forcing a Danny Dimes or even a Deshaun Watson. I would just rather get Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love, guys like that in the 4th or preferably 5th round, if you can get away with it. Only you're going to know, because your ADP suggested rank is going to tell you and guide you, but that is the way you dominate. But go YouTube that video after we're done here. I think you'll get some value out of that. It's how to dominate a Superflex fantasy football draft, and you'll see my video. I think Joe Burrow's on it, on the thumbnail. If not, email me at thefantasyfootballshow.com and I'll send you a link. Just email me there, Derek. Keep your help. I think you mean need your help. 10-team redraft, full PPR, 1.3. Tyreek Hill in the 2nd or A.J. Brown in the 3rd. I'd go A.J. Brown in the 3rd if it was me. I think it's really good value. Planning on Bijan at 1.3 or Chase. I can't argue with any of that, other than my advice would be keep A.J. Brown in the 3rd round. Somebody say no?
Tyreek Hill in the 2nd round would be the most OP player this season. What? Nah. The Cheetahs, I love A.J. Brown, but I think Tyreek Hill in the 2nd round is a little better.
Tyreek Hill. You get Tyreek Hill. I've never seen it happen.
You kind of had two different vibes.
Hill falls to the 2nd, that's a still.
I disagree that it's a huge, if they're in the same round, I could understand that, but the 3rd round, I'd rather have AJB in the 3rd round, because AJB's going at the 12-13 overall turn.
I know.
I'm hearing bad things about Tyreek Hill in camp right now too, bro.
Yeah,
bad things.
Yeah. I'm hearing that he doesn't look right. He's dropping footballs. He doesn't look the same right now. That could change, but I'm just saying, I don't know how Tyreek Hill is a slam dunk over A.J. Brown for you. I got to understand taking him. You've got Tua. He's got a very complicated quarterback situation, and A.J. Brown's got probably more security in his offense, because,
the Dolphins are going to be
Tyreek Hill's dropping balls in camp, Smitty.
Yeah, I've heard he's not looking. I heard he's not looking great.
Wrong.
But go ahead and say what you just said. What did you say about the Miami Dolphins attack?
They're going to be like Hill has the ability every week to go for 40, and I don't think A.J. Brown has the ability to go for 40. He actually has some crazy games, but Hill every week could drop you 40 fantasy points. So that's why.
Oh my God! You don't think A.J. has the ability of Hill?
Not like Tyreek to drop 40 any given week. No.
Yeah, I disagree.
Okay.
I disagree.
But I like A.J. Brown's offense.
What you got?
Hill.
What you got to look at though is Avi, is okay. So in round 1, 2, 3, you get AJB here. You're going to be able to get Bijan.
I think it's close.
You're going to be able to get Bijan here, which is what the guy's going to do. And then let's say he gets Garrett Wilson or whoever here, or whatever. So you could write in Hill here, and then we'd have to see. I mean, it's comparable. It's not like the way you're wording it is if it's like you were like, whoa, no, And then when you first said it, though, it was a little strong.
It was. I honestly do think, though, it is. Like, Tyreek Hill in the second round, I think your team has the ability to be the best. Like, just
but AJ Brown's still going in like the 10 to 12, so it's not that big of a difference.
Hill, bro,
you're talking about a round
Tyreek
difference
Hill,
in keeper value.
Bro, Tyreek Hill since 2018 has put up like numbers like 2-3.
Avi, I'm telling you, Hill looked bad in camp today.
Nah.
Okay.
Hill's gonna go off.
Okay, Avi. Hold on. Hang tight. Let me get through this.
Smitty.
Yeah.
I don't mean to go off, but I had a question for you, buddy. I had a question about the Saints. How do you feel about Dennis Allen and how he's doing with the Saints, and if John Gruden might potentially be coming in to steal his job soon? Because I've been reading a lot of stuff, and I'm just wondering from your point of view.
To steal whose job?
You know, Dennis Allen. I'm wondering if John Gruden can potentially come in the next couple of years if things clear up and be the Saints head coach, you know, and if Dennis Allen would be the defensive coordinator and he would continue as the offensive coordinator and head coach.
I mean, I hope so. I like Gruden. I hope Gruden gets another chance. I think he got the shaft, and I think Gruden deserves another shot. So hopefully, I think people will definitely, I think, get behind him in general. I don't think people are going to be upset at John Gruden. I hope John Gruden gets another shot. But somebody said they'd rather have Tyreek Hill. Please understand the question. The question is A.J. Brown in the third round as a keeper or Tyreek Hill in the second. This is not an even like value kept area. Like you're getting A.J. Brown in the third or you're getting Hill in the second, and they're both pretty close in ADP. Tyreek Hill is going around 5 or 6. A.J. Brown's going around 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Like he literally, I've seen A.J. Brown go 7. So it's not that crazy to me. To say you give me a round later, then you can build your team a little bit stronger, you know. So I get it, Avi, but Avi, you were acting like it was crazy, and I don't think your stance is crazy to like him in the second round more. But I mean, come on, let's not act like it's way better. I mean, A.J. Brown in the third, Hill in the second. There's arguable point there.
Yeah, no, A.J. Brown, he's a beast. I had him for a few. I had him on the Titans. He's a beast. Just Tyreek Hill's my boy. He's the cheetah for the reason. I think he gets disrespected every year going in the fantasy.
How is he? But hey, to Travis's point here, how is he getting slept on? He's going in like number 5, 6, 7. What are you talking about?
No. Now he isn't. But years before, he was getting slept on. Before this season, Tyreek Hill was never like 6, 7, 8. He wasn't even there. And he delivered like
back to back, him and him.
Okay. Let me get to these super chats.
Second round, you're buzzing. Like whoever your first round guy, I think
you could say the same thing about it. But okay, hang tight. I got to get to these super chats. What are the odds of fantasy number 1 pick ends up number 1? I don't know what the odds are. I've seen different data on this, but you got to look at like what league, what platform, what. But you know, I think it comes down to injuries, really. So if you have no injuries, you have a very, very solid chance. Appreciate you, Ozzy, for dropping the $1.99. Sammy with that $10 hauler. Appreciate you, Sammy. To the moon. Here's your moonshot.
The moon.
Sammy. Let's see. Planning on Bijan or Chase. Yeah, I agree. At 1.3, Bijan or Chase. Harrison dropping the super chat says too many hysterical hunters out there. That's correct. Harrison, appreciate you. Young dropping a super chat. Talk about Jordan Love again, please. And I did. There you go. Jordan Love. I mean, I did. Young, I don't know if you heard me, but I just think he's going to be an absolute surprise. And I think that Christian Watson, who was arguably the best receiver in the National Football League over a 4-game span, you can't trip and fall into that production that he had where he absolutely annihilated everybody else. I don't think you could find another player, maybe JJ, but I don't think so. Maybe JJ, where you find another player that had 4 straight games during that season, anywhere in the season that matched Christian Watson's 4-game span of being an absolute monster, at which point he ran for like a 40-plus yard touchdown on top of that, proving he's got that Deebo Samuel potential if they want to use him to the tune of about 150, 200 rushing yards a season. He definitely could do that. So absolutely love Jordan Love. He looks great in practice. We've seen him in camp throwing the football, And when we see him out there connecting and throwing dimes all over the place, let's not pretend that we only have last season a half a game to look at anymore, because that was the argument. Smitty, we only have a single half of football from 2022 to look at. That's not true. We've now seen him.
We didn't see it.
We've now seen him over and over dropping dimes in camp, and we're hearing Jair Alexander call him the best quarterback in the league, which is ridiculous. We understand that's a big reach, but the fact that he's saying that, proves how much he loves him. And when these receivers say we love him, he's hitting every throw. Like, what more do you need to at least get behind the cost of entry, which is practically like free territory in some sense? It's double-digit rounds. So love Jordan Love. Daniel dropping the $5 12-man PPR Dynasty. I won last year. I picked 1.12. I have Hurts, Eckler, Mixon, Amon-Ra, Hollywood, Brown, DJ Moore, Ayuk. I want pick 1.3. Offered Ayuk. What's your opinion? I want the 1.3. So you're saying you give up Ayuk to move that 1.12 up to the 1.3? I would do that in a heartbeat. I like Ayuk, but you're getting a Chase or a Bijan. It's a big difference. And Ayuk, I could throw Ayuk, into that type of deal. Absolutely, I like Ayuk, but it's a volatile situation with a lot of mouths to feed, and I don't know that Brock Purdy. I don't know how Brock Purdy's going to do now that he gets, defenses have film on him. We saw him get kind of figured out before he got injured the last game or so. And there were times where we said to ourselves, like, I don't know. Whoa, why is he doing that? Why is he throwing that? He's still got a lot to learn. I think everyone thinks he's just going to jump right back to where he was. He's also got this injury that, we don't know how his arm's going to respond. Not too many players have ever had the exact surgery he had to fix the UCL. So I'm a little skeptical on Purdy to a degree. I have the 8th pick and a half PPR. If Bijan is gone, should I take Barkley or a wide receiver? If you have to start 3, you have the 8th pick. If Bijan's there, I'm taking Bijan. There's no way I'm letting Bijan go past number 4, 5, or 6. I could understand going Chase or JJ, but once I get to that 4, 5, 6, 7, it's Bijan, and I'll make it work. I'll draft the wide receiver room the way I got to draft it. You could end up going wide receiver right after that. Don't draft a player, not a position. Don't force yourself down a certain path because of the positions of need. You want to draft the best player, and to me, Bijan's the best player. So thank you for that super chat. Sam dropping a $5 underdog 50 buy-in. Chubb, Wilson, D-Hop, Debo, T-Law, Pierce, Kamara, Javonte Williams, J-Love. More sleepers. Do I like it? Yeah. Let's see here. Chubb, Garrett Wilson, Chubb, D-Hop, Debo, T-Law, Pierce. I like it a lot, bro. That's a good squad. I think if you slipped in another London or Walker into there, which you sometimes can, sometimes can't. I don't know if you drafted Kamara a wee bit high, but if you do this, if you run this back again, I'm not saying this in exact format or whatever, but even in the puppies, the $5 puppies, even in the $5 puppies, you're $3 or 5, Ron? 3 or 5? They're 5. Yeah, you run this back and try and squeeze out another player that you shouldn't get. I like the formula. That's a great formula to draft with. Neil, what's up, Smitty? Any thoughts on these older running backs? I think I got to that one already. Appreciate that, Neil. Thoughts on Jamison Williams? I got that. Deckard, I got that. Overcome, appreciate your super chat. We got Tucker with his and Melvin, and I think I'm caught up. Oh, no, we got 2 more that just came in. We got Bums dropping a $4.99 hauler. Bums says, if you had to choose which 3 set of players you would rather have and why? Hill, AJ Brown, Hurts, or Hill, AJ Brown, Olave? Hill, AJ Brown, Hurts, Hill, AJ Brown, Olave. So really it's just okay.
It's Hurts.
Not necessarily, because if you end up getting Fields or Joe Burrow later,
actually
I'll probably say give me Olave, because that would be getting Olave in the 3rd round. And I think if Olave was there in the 3rd, I would take him, and I'd say give me Fields in 5. Give me Burrow in 6. With Burrow and Fields falling, with Burrow falling especially, I'm going to go ahead and say give me the wide receiver, even though I love Jalen Hurts. Is this a best? I don't think this is a best ball Because best ball, I like the stacking though. That would be interesting. You could run both of those in a best ball, do one and one on one on the other, and try just landing both of those and get the variation. But in a regular mom and pop, draft, I think I would rather go with Olave. Such a value in the third round. That's like win a league territory. And again, Fields could outscore every single fantasy football quarterback in 2023. So why not take a gamble on Burrow or Fields in round 5 or 6? Burrow in 6 or 7, honestly, at this point is crazy. Can we do a few dynasty format mock drafts before August? Yes, Sick Nasty. Remind me. We'll do that later. All right, let me circle around the phone line here. We got 260 people in here. Punch that thumb up button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new. And let's go over to Clinton real quick and get Clinton's final thoughts. I'm going to swing around the phone line and get everybody off the phone line. Clinton, what can I do for you? Final question. Go.
Yeah, I just wanted to think if it's realistic to really think that. I mean, I have really high hopes for Watson because I've seen what he's done last year, and Love. I can't unsee what I've seen last year, and the fact that the Packers have had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, and he's up against he's going to be compared to that. I think their hopes are a little bit high. Maybe I'm out of line, but I feel like their hopes are a little too high because they're going against two Hall of Fame quarterbacks. I mean, maybe he might fall a little short of that, of what everybody thinks he's going to do.
I don't think anybody's...
I've got high hopes for Watson, and I have medium hopes for Love right now.
I mean, the Packers...
That's my last thing I wanted to say.
It's a good question. The Packers kick off against the Bears. And I'm not saying these are cakewalks because you guys know I love the Bears. And I like the Falcons. So I'm just saying that these are winnable games. But the Bears, the Falcons, the Saints, the Lions are a tough team. The Raiders, and a bye week, and the Broncos. So I could definitely see through the Saints, the Falcons, or Bears. Maybe they lose one of those games. They lose the Lions game, let's just say. So Bears, Falcons, Saints, Lions, Raiders, bye week, Broncos. That they could be 4-2 at that point. I think there's a lot of optimism. There's a lot of opportunity for Love to I think ease into his new role, and I truly believe, based on what I'm seeing him, how I'm seeing him throw the football and facilitate it and command the offense, even if they're down a little bit, he's gonna deliver. I really like Jordan Love, but I think Christian Watson, you're right. I think he's gonna prove our prediction on the Moonman list and he's going to prove us proud. And I think he could absolutely have a top 12 wide receiver season, Christian Watson. Be a wide receiver 1. He'd be, at the end of it, maybe he could be higher than that. He could be 10 to 12. He could be 8 to 12. But I'm just going to say top 12 feels very, very doable with the cost of entry. You're not overpaying at all. I love Christian Watson.
Yeah.
All right, bro.
I can agree with that too.
Later, Clinton.
All right, Smith. Thank you, bro. Hey, don't let your meatloaf, bro. Thank you. Later.
Don't mention it. What do you say? Don't mention meatloaf. They may catch what he said.
I didn't understand it.
Okay, Terry Roberts. Final thoughts, pal. Since you're there.
My thoughts are on Seattle's wide receivers and quarterback. I love Gina, but with JSN there, I think JSN's going to turn into their wide receiver too. I'm a little worried about Lockett's upside because they got 3 wide receivers that are awesome now.
Yeah, I like JSN.
I love Gino there still because Gino's got 3 weapons he can just throw to all the time now.
JSN to the moon, pal. Yeah, I'm starting to really get behind his situation. I feel like Pete Carroll talks about him so much. I think they're going to run more 3 wide receiver sets than they normally did, and this is the concern about going to Seattle because they'll run 12 personnel. And you definitely wouldn't see 3 wide receivers on the field a lot if they were going to do things like they always do. But I think they're going to run some different looks, and that's why Pete Carroll, he's really kind of a mad scientist. He drafted JSN for a reason. We shouldn't be saying, oh, they can't use him because they only run 2 wide receiver sets mostly. We should be saying, okay, Pete Carroll drafted him. That means they're probably running now a lot more three wide receiver sets. So I really like JSN, and he's just a baller, and Lockett's getting older. And it wouldn't shock me if JSN was the number 1 wide receiver there at the end of the year. Maybe the stats won't prove it, and DK's the one. But like at the end of the year, we're looking at him and saying, okay, for 2024, are we drafting JSN ahead of DK? I don't think that's crazy. I think DK's really good.
No.
But DK's one of those players that, like, if no one was in his way, he would probably be that kind of guy that could produce low-end wide receiver 1 numbers, but you put someone better than him, more polished, better route runner in his way. The guy that had more stats and a better season than Olave and Garrett Wilson when they were all 3 on the same team in college. There's a lot of upside for JSN. He's a volume hog, and he knows how to become the number 1 target wherever he's at. He proved it. He proved it against Olave and Garrett Wilson. So I like him a lot.
Garrett Wilson tell reporters that when he was playing with JSN, he never seen a wide receiver like JSN and the routes he was running when they were playing together.
Yeah,
I'm like, wow.
He loves him. All right, Terry. Anything else, pal?
No, that's it. Good show, man, as always. Looking forward to your 8 o'clock spot there.
All right, Terry.
So
later, pal.
Yeah.
See you later.
Let's go.
G Money with a $5 hauler. Hey, Smitty, in a 12-man half PPR redraft league, would you rather draft from the 1.3 or the 1.11? 1.3. Give me Bijan or Chase. I'm happy as can be. I don't even hesitate, G Money. I don't even hesitate on that one. I do like, when I'm given the 11, I go Garrett Wilson, St. Brown, and I do love that. Then I go with Gibbs, and I get Walker even later. I get even Burrow even later. You might be able to go St. Brown and Garrett Wilson, or Garrett Wilson, St. Brown, Gibbs, and then now you can get Christian Watson. Now you can get Fields, and then you can get Walker. I mean, that's a fantastic start to a draft. So I love that. Samuel from Atlanta. I'm sorry I haven't gone to you yet. Go ahead if you have a question. I'll let you ask a little bit more than 10 seconds here.
Hey, no problem. So I see like you love Jamar Gibbs, right? But would you draft Jamar Gibbs?
Jamon Gibbs. Who's Jamon Gibbs?
Jameer.
Oh.
Jameer Gibbs.
Nah, not again. Is this Jimmy? Jimmy? Are you Jimmy's brother?
Yeah, Jameer. No. But yeah, would you draft Jameer Gibbs before Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson in the Superflex?
Yes.
Rookie draft?
Yes.
You would?
Uh-huh.
Why?
Because I don't like this quarterback class anywhere near like another one that might potentially produce an elite fantasy football quarterback that I think is deserving of like top 7, top 8 overall Superflex value someday. I don't see it. I think Anthony Richardson's got a lot of upside, but I now hate his situation. I'm not excited about Indy. I'm not drafting any Indy players. I know in Superflex it's a little different, and I would definitely still dabble in the Anthony Richardson game from a Superflex perspective. So that would be the only Colt I would draft, I guess. But I just think that like I'd rather go after Jordan Love and buy Aaron Rodgers for 2 years and rent him. I'd rather do those type of moves, which I think are pretty doable. And I think people are trying to get rid of Aaron Rodgers, and people are skeptical of Jordan Love. People don't believe in Sam Howell. I'd rather have Jameer Gibbs and Sam Howell than give me the number 1 rookie quarterback. I just would find another solution. Jameer Gibbs is a massive difference maker. And I personally would draft him over Anthony Richardson in a dynasty Superflex startup, because I'm of the thinking I go quarterback in round 1, and then I don't take Anthony Richardson or Danny Dimes or Deshaun Watson or those guys in round 2. I'd much rather get those RBs. And even if, let's say, Anthony Richardson fell to the 3rd round, and I'm looking at Gibbs there, even in a Superflex, because I want a running back and the points are massively in favor of a pass catching back, I'm still not. I understand the value, but I don't like the Colts situation at all, bro. I'm not going near Colt player.
What about Bryce Young? First overall pick. Isn't he worth something in Dynasty?
Yeah, of course he is, but not more than Gibbs in my opinion. Not in Superflex Dynasty. I want Gibbs so bad, bro. He's a top. He in my redraft rankings. I don't tell people my redraft rankings in terms of what I expect to happen all the time. I do when people ask, and I do talk about it. But I'm afraid of not only are you going to be like, what in the hell is this guy on? But number two, you're going to literally think that you have, full authority to draft him where I'm saying he's going to end up. Some of you will. But when I picture my redraft end of season results for running backs, Jahmyr Gibbs is in the top 5. He is, in my opinion, he's going to have that big of a season. He's going to be a top 5 running back at the end of the year. So,
and last question, I promise.
Yeah, go ahead.
So 101, you got Bijan. 102, you got Jahmyr Gibbs. So who's 103 in your rookie Superflex draft?
I mean, then you go Anthony Richardson, I think. Because for trade value alone, I think JSN is a great non-Superflex choice there. But, Anthony Richardson, I'd probably go, Bryce Young or Stroud. I mean, Stroud might be even the safest of all three of them at this point. I don't know that he has the upside to ever be what Anthony Richardson could be, but Anthony Richardson now has way more risk than I'm comfortable. So, I just find I don't want any part of this rookie QB class. I don't. I mean, I like Bryce Young at the right value. I do like Bryce Young a lot. But I don't know that I want to draft him over some of those names there. If I could get Bryce Young at 4 or 5, 6, I guess, I'd definitely be intrigued. I like Bryce Young a lot. I do. But I don't know that he can compete with Gibbs or Bijan, that's for sure. But maybe after that, I could go Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, Stroud, or Anthony Richardson, Stroud, Bryce Young. I could get behind that. JSN after that.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. All right, bro. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Let's go. Avi, final thoughts.
I just want to talk about Jordan Love, actually. I haven't really talked about him. I actually like him now. I'm liking him more. I want him as my backup quarterback to anyone I get. And I think he's got good upside. He looks smooth.
Yeah. I mean, we all I think in here have some interest in him. I think I'm trying to maybe create a little movement, little Jordan Love awareness, because I think he's going to be way better than people think. I think he's going to be as good as Tua and Geno were last year, which was really good. We're talking about surprise, you want to bench one of your quarterbacks you drafted ahead of Jordan Love because he's playing so well. That kind of good. You're not going to draft him to start. He's not a guarantee. There's a lot of risk involved, but definitely feel like did I miss any other gifted memberships? Gifted.
I had Justin Herbert last year. Tell me about it. I would have had Tua.
Yeah. All right, Avi. Appreciate you, pal.
Later. Yep.
All right. Super chat here before I go to Ron Navy. This is a $5 hauler from TJ. TJ says just drafted a weekly winners on Underdog with 2 stacks with Burrow, Chase, and T-Law and Ridley. What do you think? I love it. Especially in Underdog, you want to do stacks if you can, if they all make sense. When they make sense, you want to do it. You don't want to force it, but loving Ridley right now. Loving T-Law. Loving the new value in Burrow, which I haven't had a lot of time to go through the puppies and weekly winners and best ball manias and take advantage of this Burrow. I'm going to do that tonight, probably relax, draft a couple times, and try and get some exposure to Joe Burrow in round 6 and 7, where I see a lot of you doing that. And that's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. I haven't partaken as much as I've wanted to lately, doing all these live streams, breaking news constantly. But appreciate you. Love those stacks. Keep doing it. I'll be interested to know your full team. So you can let us know when you're complete what you got. Ron Navy, final thoughts.
Just eating dinner. Made dinner while I was listening.
All right. What are you eating?
I made a burger with Worcester cheese melted on top and a couple of over easy eggs.
That sounds about right, Ron. That sounds Ron Navy like.
Yep.
Awesome. Decker got Burrow at 5.8. I mean, it's great. It's great value. 6. I'm hearing 6th round now. It's awesome. It's awesome. Ron, what's the late? Have you taken Burrow lately in a draft, and what's the latest you've taken him?
5.
5. Have you waited to 6 yet, or have you just kind of jumped early and wondered if you could have got him in 6? Because that's kind of what I think I could do. I'd be like, I see him at 5 and go, should I wait? I don't know. I'm just gonna grab him.
Yeah, well, if it's like if I know there's a lot of picks before me, if I just have like 2 or 3 picks till my next pick, then it's easy to wait. But when you got like 20 spots, then I'm not waiting.
Yeah. All right, Ron. Appreciate you. We'll see you. I won't be live tonight because tonight's Monday, right? Yeah. So, well, I will once we change over. I haven't decided when I'm flipping the switch on the change in schedule yet. I got to figure it out. We got a little time.
Oh, did you talk about the trophy? I mean, not the trophy, but the throne room.
Oh yeah, the throne. No, not yet. Good call. The throne draft, you guys, I said it last night, but I'll say it again tonight. The throne draft kicks off tonight at midnight, the Fantasy Football Throne, which is where I created on Instagram a bunch of different Instagram communities, like fantasy pages, and we want to just dominate the hell out of them, and you guys draft my team. So when I'm on the clock, I'm gonna either, if I'm live, I'll probably go live, I guess, for the first pick, or, try and pick during the show or something, but I'll definitely be live on Instagram if I'm not live on YouTube, so make sure you're following me on Instagram. But we go live when we're on the clock, and I get your vote, and you guys pick the team, and I take it into battle. So you pick the team, we vote on it, we draft whoever you want. Sometimes I disagree, very rarely, but sometimes I disagree. I remember 2 or 3 years ago, you guys wanted Hunter Henry, and I was all pissed off. Not in a bad way, but I'm like, come on, guys! We're not taking Hunter Henry, and everyone voted Hunter Henry, and he ended up being garbage. I don't know if the player I wanted was garbage or not, though. I don't remember. But it's always fun. But you guys draft my team, so get ready for that. That starts at midnight tonight. But we're probably not going to get to our pick until mid-afternoon tomorrow because it's very slow. You go live, everyone's got like a 2 or 3 hour window to collect their vote. So we usually get through about 8 or 7 picks a day. So it's like a 3-week endeavor.
How many hours between each pick?
I mean, it's off at midnight, or it's off at like 9 a.m. until the morning. So there's usually like a no draft time frame between like 9 or 10 p.m. and like 6 a.m. So it's a big gap of no drafting. But then it's like 2 or 3 hours. Some people draft within 20 minutes. Some people draft in 3 hours. Some people aren't available. So I'll see you guys all for that. Appreciate you, Ron.
Yes, sir.
All right, later, man.
Later, chat.
All right, let me see. Rock out. You got 10 seconds. I'm on the way out the door. Appreciate you, though. 10 seconds. Go.
Yeah, how you feel about the Denver wide receivers with Tim Patrick out for the year?
Yeah, bro, I haven't been feeling that wide receiver room all year. I guess it's better for I guess it's better for Judy and Mims. Yeah. I don't like Sutton, but I'm not drafting Judy in the 4th round. If Judy's only going to go up in value now. If he was going at 4.10, 4.8, 4.11 before, he's probably going at 4.4 now. Like it makes me more out. I want nothing to do with it. I want nothing to do with Denver. I want nothing to do with Indy, except for Javonte and P. Ryan, I guess. P. Ryan and Javonte, I don't mind that, but I still am fearful for Javonte this year because of Denver. I'm just Denver for the most part. I'm out. Javonte at the right price, P. Ryan at the right price. I'm not touching another Denver Bronco player, and I'm certainly not going near any Colt player unless it's super flex.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
All right, rock out. Got to run. Appreciate you, man, calling in. Mars man, rock out. We'll see you later, pal.
See ya.
Later. I'll be live if there's breaking news. Avi says Throne League is goated. Thank you, Avi. Appreciate you. I will see you all later. Appreciate you all. Thank you for all the super chats. You guys are absolutely amazing. Super chat monsters here. We got Melvin with the first one of the day. That's a standing ovation. Thank you, Melvin. Melvin with the first super chat. Tucker dropping one. Overcome with a double. Deckard with another one. Runner Boy. Neil. Sam Dunn. 182. Thank you for your super chat. Daniel Valencia. Appreciate you. Young. Harrison. Ozzy. Sammy. Derek, appreciate you. Runner Boy again. Bums, appreciate you, Bums. Sick Nasty, G Money, Trading with TJ, appreciate you for your super chat as well. I love your combos of the two stacks. Appreciate you. Avi, appreciate you. G Money, appreciate you, of course. G Money's my boy. And we'll see you all tonight if there's breaking news. If not, tomorrow. Peace out. Don't forget the show starting tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern. Starting tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then we might get to the Monday, the new schedule, like I said, as soon as this flips over. So tomorrow is when it kicks on. That's why I'm not going live tonight at midnight, because we're not switching yet. But this should be the schedule moving forward. I don't know if I'm going to do the Monday show yet until we get closer to the season. So it might be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then this kicks in. But I'm going to see what I can do. But I might take Tuesday, and I'm not taking Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern off, but I might take the graveyard shift off on Tuesday and Wednesday. Back-to-back days, graveyard shift off, and just power through the week with the graveyard shift, the 1 a.m. Eastern show. So hang tight. We might for the moment have no Monday show until we get a little closer. Appreciate every single one of you. 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. It all begins. We're moving the show 8 p.m. Eastern every single Monday through Friday. Thank you for all you super chatters and supporters. Hit that thumb up button on the way out the door. Thank you for all the callers. Travis, thank you for modding as usual. Terry, appreciate you. Space Ricky, appreciate you for being an amazing mod as well. Terry Roberts, you guys are absolutely phenomenal. I don't thank my mods enough. Especially Space Ricky. I always thank my mods. And Space Ricky, I need to shout you out more. Sorry. Forgive me. Peace out. See you tomorrow.